Picture this. You are 64 years old. Today is your last day at work. The handshakes are done, the cake is eaten, and you are sitting in the MRT on the way home for the very last time, watching the city blur past the window. And for the first time in 40 years, you have nowhere to be tomorrow morning. But here's the thing. What tomorrow actually looks like depends entirely on one question you probably never asked yourself directly. And that question is not how much is in your CPF. It is not whether you hit the full retirement sum. The real question is this: are you carrying debt into retirement? Because in 2026, more Singaporeans than ever before are arriving at that MRT ride home with a number in their head that has nothing to do with freedom. It is the outstanding balance on their HDB loan. So how many Singaporeans actually retire debt-free? And what separates the ones who get there from the ones who do not? Stay with me, because the numbers are more uncomfortable than most people want to admit. And by the end of this, you will know exactly where you stand and what you can still do about it. Let us start with the most important number nobody is talking about loudly enough. According to data from the Ministry of Manpower, somewhere between 43 and 59% of CPF members aged 55 and older have already used their CPF Ordinary Account savings to pay for an HDB mortgage. Nearly half of all Singaporeans approaching retirement have funneled the very account meant to build their retirement nest egg directly into their housing loan repayments. And here is why that matters more than most people realize. When you turn 55 in Singapore, your special account and your ordinary account get consolidated into your retirement account. That is the moment your CPF life payouts get locked in for the rest of your life. But if your ordinary account has been steadily drained for years by your HDB mortgage repayments, there is almost nothing left to transfer into that retirement account. The math is brutal and it is irreversible. Think about it this way. You buy a 5-room HDB resale flat today. In 2026, the median resale price is 628,000 Singapore dollars. And in central areas like Toa Payoh or Bukit Merah, you are looking at over $1 million. You take out a 25-year HDB loan at 2.6%. If you buy at age 40, that loan runs out exactly when you turn 65, which happens to be the year your CPF life payouts begin. You retire with the mortgage technically paid off, but your ordinary account is empty. Your retirement account is thin, and your monthly CPF life payout reflects every single year of those missed contributions. That is not a housing success story. That is a retirement time bomb. And it gets worse when you layer in what has happened to property prices. Our parents bought their first HDB flats at 2 or 3 times their annual household income. Today, a typical Singaporean household is buying at 6 to 8 times their annual income. The loan is bigger, the repayment period is longer, and the CPF contributions being absorbed by that mortgage are larger than anything the previous generation ever had to deal with. A typical Singaporean today will pay more in total interest across their working life than their parents paid for their entire HDB flat. Now let us talk about the silent debt that nobody puts on their retirement spreadsheet. Credit card debt in Singapore hit a 10-year high in the third quarter of 2025, sitting at 9.07 billion Singapore dollars in outstanding balances. The average Singaporean credit card holder is carrying 5,335 Singapore dollars in revolving debt. And that debt is not sitting there quietly. It is compounding at between 24 and 26% per year. That means if you have got $15,000 sitting on credit cards, you are handing the bank almost $4,000 a year just to stay in place. Not to pay it off, just to stop it from growing. $4,000 a year. That is more than $300 a month. Money that could be going into your SRS account, getting you a tax deduction today, and growing tax-free until you need it in retirement. Instead, it is disappearing into a bank's profit margin. Here is the compounding problem that nobody warns you about. When you arrive at retirement with outstanding debt, you do not just have a debt problem, you have a CPF life problem. Because the monthly payout you receive from CPF Life is permanently set by the amount in your retirement account at age 65. It does not adjust upward later. It does not catch up. The retirement account balance you have at 65 is the number you live with for the rest of your life. In 2026, to receive the standard full retirement sum payout of 1,780 Singapore dollars per month, you need $220,400 in your retirement account by age 65. To hit even the basic retirement sum for the lower payout of around $950 a month, you need $110,200. And roughly 30% of CPF members who turn 55 today do not even meet the basic retirement sum. They will receive less than $950 a month from CPF Life, forever. Compare that against the reality of what it actually costs to live in Singapore as a retired person. The Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy Minimum Income Standard study found that a single elderly person in Singapore needs at least 1,492 Singapore dollars every single month just to cover basic needs and participate in society. Not to travel, not to eat well, just to meet the baseline. The maximum Silver Support Scheme payout for the lowest income retirees is $360 a month. The gap between Silver Support and what you actually need to live is $1,132 every month, forever. So why does this keep happening? It is not because Singaporeans are financially reckless. It is because the system is built in a way that makes it very easy to feel wealthy and very easy to be asset rich but cash poor at the same time. You own an HDB flat worth $600,000. On paper, you are wealthy. But that flat is not a salary. It does not pay for your hawker center meals or your integrated shield plan premiums or your grandchildren's school fees. It sits there, appreciated and illiquid, while your CPF life payout struggles to cover your monthly bills. The trap is that Singaporeans have been told for decades that their flat is their retirement. But a flat you live in is not an asset you can spend. It is shelter, and shelter is not a pension. There is also a timing trap that catches people who bought late. First-time HDB buyers over the age of 45 now make up a growing slice of the resale market, and they face a brutal arithmetic reality. If you buy your first flat at 45 on a 25-year loan, your mortgage runs until you are 70. You are still writing housing checks 5 years into your official retirement. Meanwhile, CPF life payouts started at 65, and every single dollar they were meant to replace was already spent on your mortgage for the previous decade. Now let us get to what you can actually do, because the goal of this video is not to make you feel stuck. The goal is to make you move. The first step is the most important one, and the one most people skip. You need to write down every single debt you carry right now: the HDB loan outstanding balance, the credit card balances, and the interest rates. Any personal loans, car loans. And next to each one, write how many years it will run relative to your planned retirement date. This is not a budgeting exercise. This is a retirement clarity exercise. You need to see exactly which debts are going to follow you past 64 if you do nothing. The second step is to attack your highest interest debt first, and that almost certainly means credit cards before your HDB loan. A 25% credit card is destroying wealth far faster than a 2.6% HDB concessionary loan. If you're making minimum payments on $15,000 of credit card debt, you are paying nearly $4,000 a year in interest alone, and the principal barely moves. Eliminate that before you start making extra mortgage repayments. The math is not close. The third step is one that Singaporeans massively underuse, and it has a deadline every single December: the Supplementary Retirement Scheme. In 2026, you can contribute up to 15,300 Singapore dollars into your SRS account per year. Every single dollar you contribute is deducted from your taxable income for that year. The money grows tax-free inside the account, and when you withdraw from your SRS at age 63, rising to 64 from July 2026, only 50% of each withdrawal is subject to income tax. If you are in the 22% tax bracket today and you contribute the maximum, you save over 3,300 Singapore dollars in income tax this year alone. That is money you get back immediately, not in some distant retirement future, this year. The fourth step is to use every CPF top-up dollar available to you. In 2026, you can receive up to 8,000 Singapore dollars in tax relief by making a cash top-up to your own CPF special account or retirement account, plus another $8,000 in relief by topping up a family member's account. That is 16,000 Singapore dollars of income shielded from tax every year, going directly into your retirement account, compounding at 4% guaranteed inside CPF. The fifth step is the one that requires a different kind of honesty. Stop treating your HDB flat as your retirement plan. It is not. If you are counting on selling your flat or on your children inheriting it, you are building a retirement strategy that depends on other people's decisions and future market conditions, neither of which you control. Your CPF life payout, your SRS balance, and your outside investments are the only retirement income streams you actually control. Build those. And there is one more thing nobody says out loud enough. Medical inflation in Singapore is not your regular inflation. In 2026, medical inflation is running at 16.9% per year. General consumer price inflation is closer to 2.4%. Your integrated shield plan premiums will not stay flat. Chronic disease management costs in your 60s and 70s will not stay flat. Every year you delay building your retirement balance is a year where your future medical bills are growing by nearly 17% and your savings are not. Here is the honest answer to the question this video started with. The majority of Singaporeans are not retiring debt-free. And the generation behind today's current retirees is doing worse than the generation before them. HDB prices are higher relative to income than they have ever been. Credit card debt is at a decade high, and the CPF system, as brilliantly designed as it is, only works if you do not spend your ordinary account on a mortgage that outlasts your working career. The government is not going to fix your specific retirement account balance. Your employer's mandatory CPF contributions alone will not get you to the enhanced retirement sum payout of $3,440 a month. The Silver Support Scheme pays $360 a month. The gap between that and the life you actually want in retirement is a gap only you can close. The Singaporeans who retire debt-free almost always share one thing in common. They made a decision at some point in their 40s or 50s to stop treating debt as normal. They started treating every dollar of outstanding loan as a dollar being stolen from their 65-year-old self. Once you see it that way, paying off debt is not a sacrifice, it is self-defense. Open your CPF dashboard this week. Look at your retirement account projection. Look at your outstanding housing loan. Write the two numbers next to each other and decide honestly whether the gap between them is something you can live with, because you will have to live with it for the rest of your life. If this video made you think, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone who needs to have this conversation before it is too late. I will see you in the next one.